Hello lovely people, it's Christmas Day. As you can see, I'm in the suit. It's been a busy night, I have to admit. Even had a nice trim when I got back. Anyway, cut the hassle. Welcome to my latest video, and welcome to a video. Let's have a little chat about the cycling industry and their marketing and tech, shall we? Their marketing strategy is just blown out of the world. All right, so let's get into this. Let's see if we can get there kicked up the backside. All right, welcome to James Social Cycling on Christmas Day. Firstly, apologies about the lighting. We don't get any light in this lounge, especially when it's on Christmas Day, nice and gloomy. Hope you like the hat. This is actually my cycling outfit that I wear. So I usually sellotape this to my hat, my helmet, and then I wear this. This is all velcroed up, which I made up. And I have some bottoms, which you can't see, and I usually wear the Under Armour as well. But so apart from that, I'd like to apologise. I've obviously not been about. You probably can still hear I'm still not great, still a bit chesty, still coughing, and don't go to the hospital in December or November, in fact, because I remember on the 5th of December when I walked into the hospital, I was glad I was wearing a mask. But as we all know, you can take crap in through your eyes and stuff, so wearing a mask didn't really do anything for me that day. And now the family have been caught with it as well. Anyway, I digress. So I'm here today. I wanted to have, there's a couple of things. Let's do the cycling thing. All right, this is kind of like a Sunday bike check. All right, so this is hashtag number 2, Christmas special. All right, we're gonna lay into the industry, and it's basically the industry's bullshit manufacturing and marketing strategy. They keep coming out with a load of rubbish, keep calling things new names, and then we have to listen to people like Hambini to tell us that it's complete and utter BS, even when we know in ourselves that we don't need to be engineers to know that some of the stuff that they're talking about is just made up lingo to make it sound marvellous and techie. So anyway, the reason why I'm picking on Specialized, because they are at the forefront of this. If you remember back in the days, they had the Zerts, so they were the little inserts. Well, they weren't even inserts, were they? They basically were a rubber strip that went over a little part of the fork and the seat stays. Now I remember having the Roubaix SL4 frame, and that to me was a load of rubbish. When I took them off to actually clean them and get the dirt from the inside, I thought, well, what was that all about? There's nothing to it. You know, it's a thinner bit of frame. And how is that going to do flex? We then had the suspension fork on the Diverge. So the suspension fork was fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but it become a servicing nightmare, as we know from probably over the last couple of years. And it was a servicing nightmare. You couldn't service it, your local bike shop couldn't service it, so you had to send it away. And then not so recent, we had the Specialized SL7, so the Tarmac, which had the integrated stem. Recall. It had a recall. Lucky it didn't kill somebody. All right, so I'm not just picking on Specialized for that. I'm just thinking that they're at the forefront of this. They are trying to come up with new tech to sell you more bikes. Now, what have we got coming out? We've got the new Diverge, the STR gravel bike. Mate, they have taken away part of the top tube to give you a suspension. What the are they thinking? I'm a little bit scared of that. There's obviously been a lot of talk about the movement that you get, and I get it, you know, but I bet their CAO was like, what are you trying to do to us, guys? You're trying to give us a load of court cases. How can they do that? you know, there's going to be a lot of movement on that, I appreciate, but servicing that as well is going to be an absolute nightmare, I bet. You know, an expensive bike, an expensive service. But you tell me, you know, you tell me, is the STR something that you're quite looking forward to? Let me know in the comments. So why are the bike manufacturers coming out with new tech on a nearly yearly basis? Sorry guys, I've got something in my bloody eye and it's not the bauble. It's like the golf industry. So the golf industry, basically every year you can well, it is every year in the golf industry. I haven't played for a while, but every year in the golf industry you'll get a 400 or 500 pound driver and a 1,000 pound set of clubs, and that's not without the new putters, the new woods, you know, the new wedges and all that sort of thing that are coming out. And the only reason for that is that they want new money. Every year they're coming out, they want you to upgrade on a yearly basis. And does this sound familiar? You know, you've got, in the golf industry, you've got TaylorMade, Callaway and Titleist, just to name three. And in the bike industry, you've got Specialized, Trek and Cannondale. Does that sound familiar? Does it sound like 3 American companies and the golf industry and 3 American companies in the bike industry? It does, doesn't it? I get it on the N+1, you know, for me, I'm not that N+1 type of person, although saying that, I've got 3 bikes. Well, one of them's my son's mountain bike, which I'm going to very much get into. But the biggest problem is when you're looking at bikes now that are, you know, they're ridiculously priced. N+1 comes in N-2 for me, you know, and with the way that the tech is, the way that they're bringing these new products out, the way that they're doing this is for me, I just find it very difficult to spend my money in this industry at the moment, especially on bikes. Every year, new tech, or every other year, new tech. Every other year, or every year they're pushing a new product on us. We've seen the bullshit marketing. It's going on, it's been going on for years, both for golf and both for bikes. You know, we don't have to do that. You know, Bianchi just tried to adopt the same strategy, the same marketing strategy, didn't they? So they kind of fell flat on their face with their new fins on the, I should really tell you what the bike was, but you'll know what I'm talking about. The fins on the front tube, basically it was poo-pooed by a lot of people, wasn't it? Let's face it. And I think there's not even UCI allowed, so it's illegal in the UCI side. So the cycling bigwigs basically are already doing a good job, and they have done a good job in the past. I think the corporations, aren't they? They're a corporate. There's a little bit of corporate greed there. Let's face it. It's, sorry to say, that is what happens. But if we go back a few years, let's go back to when I bought my Roubaix. So on the Roubaix, you had the CGR carbon seat post, which had this basically will give you as much as 18mm of damp and flex depending on the road surface and the rider weight. This works, and I know that because I've used it on the Roubaix since 2015, and now it's on my Amonda. So I've used this. The joke is it's no longer available, but at the time, you know, you could buy this seat post for 175 quid. There lies the problem. It's cheap, and therefore you can't make loads of money on this tech because it's now old tech. It was actually put on, if you remember, when they launched the Diverge with the, I think it's 2019, might be wrong, might be 2018, but they actually launched this on the Diverge with the new front suspension. When they brought that out, they actually put the CGR carbon seat post on that bike as well to give a little bit of compliance on the back end. You know, so they even thought then it was good tech, but obviously you can't make money from £175 seat post, and now you can't find this on the market at all. They're now looking for more extreme ideas to create 10 to 20 mil of flex in movement to help with comfort, which becomes a challenge just so then they can sell more bikes at a higher retail cost. I have looked high and low, because obviously telling you that I've had this seat post since 2015 is a little bit worrying. I hear some creaks now and then, and I'm not a small guy. Sorry, excuse me. I'm not a small guy. So basically, I've looked, you know, and I rate this seat post very highly. But Specialized have stopped making it. So instead of spending on new tech, how about spending that money on upgrading your manufacturing? You know, this is the biggest problem here, isn't it? Is they're bringing out new bikes every year, that new bikes could bloody kill us. When the industry cuts too many corners, shite frames, shite tech and bullshit marketing, how about they pull their how about they pull their finger out and make brilliant products that don't cause cyclists hell? You know, shite carbon frames, internal cabling that either kill you or break your wrist changing gear. So the biggest problem we've got here, some are waking up, because obviously we've got Hambini who's rimmings on YouTube. They're now looking to make the bikes better. Returning to threaded BBs might not be great, but it's a start. Integrated cabling is another one where they're trying to obviously look at tidying up the cockpit, and I get that. I think it's great, but not at our expense. Not at, you know, we saw on Map Deck with the Dolan bike. At the end of the day, the way that they'd rammed that in to get the angling, to get it through that seat, the stem and the seat and the handlebars and down into the tube, the front tube. It was awful, you know. And maybe it's okay as long as you don't pinch it with something like the hydraulic brakes, but if you've got cable gearing on there, you're going to kill yourself, aren't you? But I've noticed that they've tried to they're trying to change that. So I noticed on the new Cervelo Soloist, which was in the latest magazine, and basically what they're doing is you've got integrated cabling into the handlebars, and then it comes out of the handlebars and then drops into the tube instead of going through the stem. So it just gives it that little bit extra space so for working. Obviously it will be a servicing nightmare, because you've obviously got to take it, if you want to change your bearings, especially your lower bearings, then that'll obviously be an issue. It means you're going to have to take the whole cabling out at the same time. And I had first look at this. Mark Overall, a friend of mine, showed me his Focus gravel bike, which has that, basically has that, the cables going into the top tube, and missing out the stem altogether, which I think will be it's going to be a massive mechanics bill, but at the end of the day, it's not going to kill us. At least they're trying to look at ways of trying to make that better, because I understand a nicer, no cables, it just looks a lot tidier. But at the end of the day, do you care that the cables are showing? I don't care the cables are showing. As long as they're integrated into the handlebar, then you're doing the best you can. And to be honest, it's high time that the cycling industry pulls their bloody fingers out. Stop charging the earth for bikes that, to be honest, have been made in some factory somewhere that doesn't align. You know, this would be, it'd be much better if they just concentrated on making a good frame. You know, go and make a good frame, one that's compliant to their paperwork, and one that's compliant to something that doesn't give us all that hassle. You know, this would be much better than selling a shite. And at the end of the day, the only people that some people like Specialized Trek and Cannondale have probably got in their mind are their shareholders. I'm sorry, it's the American way. Profits first, safety over good products, you know, and it just reaps that all the time. And it's the reason why I don't buy Specialized anymore, and I'm afraid that's because I was bitten once and I won't buy it again. I don't care if they've changed their technology, but if you buy a frame and being told that you've got a lifetime guarantee on that frame, and basically the bottom bracket isn't compliant, it creaks to hell. And they turn around and say, well, that's not under warranty, but it's part of the frame. Anyway, I'm not bitter, promise. But I won't buy from them again, and I won't buy from Pedal Heaven either. You know, I know we've done this conversation to hell. I do. I appreciate that we've done this conversation to hell, but at the end of the day, you know, I would love to fall in love with another bike, but I, for one, I'm reluctant to spend any money, you know, on any of these bikes, any of these manufacturers. I'm sorry, you know, I've got a Trek and I've got a Cannondale, I've got a Giant mountain bike, you know, but at the end of the day, I don't want to spend any more money on these people because they're ripping us off. And that's sad, you know. What do? Do we go back to buying the Chinese bikes that are getting such a good rapport online? Maybe that's the way forward. Maybe that is the way forward. But we have to thank, you know, people like Hambini for one, and people like Mapdeck, who are getting really involved with Mapdeck Cycle Works. If you should know them. If you don't, check them out on YouTube. But at the end of the day, these people shouldn't be the ones that have to go on YouTube. And we all know Hambini has to put up with court case after court case, so he must be spending loads of money on that just to keep us in the know, which, you know, we can obviously appreciate. So thanks to those guys, really appreciate it. Anyway, comments down below, people. I know we've done this to hell, and I appreciate that it is, you know, it has been done, but it just does my nut in. You know, if I was a salesman in this industry, I would be disheartened, to be honest with you, with the frames that we're seeing, and obviously some of the tech that's coming out, which is a load of rubbish. Comments down below. What do you think? Where are you buying your next bike from? Let me know. Okay, as it's Christmas Day, I wanted to sort of finish on a bit of a little bit of a high. All right, I don't want to be sort of talking negative crap on Christmas Day, and I'm still feeling a bit gloomy, so I don't want to be sitting here for too long. Excuse me. So, Christmas movies. What's your Christmas movies? You know, every year I have a couple that I like to go to. All right. You know, and I know there's you've got your Santa Clauses, however many movies they've made. I don't even know how many. I don't watch them ones. But you've got your Elf, you've got your Home Alone. All right, they're your movies. But there's so many to choose from, and I have two classics. I have two classics that I absolutely adore this time of year. All right, and it's quite sad. All right, not number one. Let's go number two. Number two for me is a 2004 movie called The Polar Express. So an animated computer graphics, whatever you want to call it. Tom Hanks basically casted the whole thing. I think he voiced over nearly everything, but it's just an amazing animated journey of a young child believing, just trying to believe again in Christmas. And as you can obviously see, I get a little bit tearful. It is a bit of a tearful movie. But I've watched this movie already 3 times, but then I've had plenty of time to sit down and watch movies, being that I've not been very well. So, but it is a fantastic movie, all right? And if you haven't watched it, give it a watch. And my number one Christmas movie is a classic, and I have to say is casted by a legend. A legend. It's casted by a legend. If you remember the 1964 movie Zulu, you know, the movie at the time showed the English defending themselves against the Zulu warriors, you know. Yeah, fantastic movie, great, very well done. But now when you look at it, you just, all it reminds you of is the colonialism and the English, the British Empire, and the way that bow and arrows and spears don't actually do much against artillery, does it? Not really. And I have to say that was all to do with gold, mostly. That's pretty much why the colonialism and empire moved into that direction. Anyway, sorry, let's move on. This guy also starred in famous movie in 1969. All he wanted to do was blow the bloody doors off, you know. So we all know that movie. And he also was a butler called Arthur in probably the best Batman trilogy known to man. It was Christian Bale, wasn't it? He played. And then that was obviously in the last movie when he sat in the cafe, the one that he dreamt. He would sit in the cafe, have a little drink, look up, and there's Bruce Wayne. And that was what happened at the end. Ooh, getting all tingly just thinking about it. What a movie. Yes, yeah, you've probably guessed it. So it is Michael Caine. And the movie, the Christmas movie I actually adore is The Muppets Christmas Carol. You can't lie, it's a good movie. It's such a well-told story. You know, it's Charles Dickens' classic. And, you know, am I letting something out here? Am I letting something out? So Michael Caine plays such a great part in it, I think, and I have to say it's such a well done movie. The Muppets always, where I've watched it probably 4 or 5 times, 6 times maybe already, I always like to watch other characters in the movie and see, but the way that they get the Muppets to move is just brilliant, isn't it? You can't not say it's a good movie. So they're my 2, all right? So they are my 2. So you've got number 1, Muppets Christmas Carol. And number 2, you got the Polar Express. What are yours? Give us 2 downstairs in the comments. And Die Hard isn't a movie, people, all right? It's not a movie, it's not a Christmas movie. It's a movie, it's not a Christmas movie. So there's a movie that I want you to go and look up and watch with Michael Caine, starring Michael Caine, and it's called Harry Brown. And if you've watched it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's such a well put together movie. It just has that lovely little twist at the end, which just is so satisfying to watch. You know, it could, you might find it a little bit long strung out, but at the end of the day, Harry Brown, watch it, you'll enjoy it. When you get to the end, it'll be, oh man, that was so good. It's just one of those movies which, you know, just Harry Brown. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. I do have a love affair as well of Christmas specials. So this time of year I like to get the old Two Ronnies and Morecambe and Wise out. Kind of reminds me of my younger days with Nan and Grandad, and you know, all those Saturday nights, if you remember the Saturday nights when TV used to be funny. Guys, I'd just like to say thank you very much. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you've enjoyed the video, thank you. I really appreciate that. Sorry that I've not really been around. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to sit here and basically thank you all for the support that you've given over the last year. So 2022, it's been a bit of a funny year, suffering with long COVID and stuff like that. The cycling's been pretty minuscule, probably done about 2,500 miles on the bike, which to be honest, it's not really a bother, you know, that's what it is. I'm obviously hoping to do some more, get some more done at some point. There's some things in the pipeline for 2023, but firstly, thank you very much. You guys are still the reason why I make these videos, even if they are rubbish. I know, Mick, they're not rubbish, but you know what I mean. They're you know what I mean. Look, anyway, look, Merry Christmas to you and your families. I hope you all have a lovely Christmas. I hope you all have a lovely day today. Sorry to butt in on your day. Hopefully you'll give us a watch over the next few days, and if you do, Merry Christmas. And hopefully we can move more to the light for 2023. You know, it's because they're trying to choke us, aren't they? They're trying to choke that positivity out of us. I'm not going to get into politics. I'm just letting you know. Spike Milligan, don't let the bastards grind you down. All right? If you've enjoyed the vid, share it. Share it to your like-minded friends and family. And if you're not subscribed, then please subscribe. I appreciate that probably 70% of you aren't subscribers. I'm hoping to be able to bring you some more content next year. I've got probably 4 or 5 videos that I need to make. I just haven't had the energy to do them. I've got some good innovative products that are coming. So yeah, so get subscribed. Please like this video. I've obviously been off the air for probably 2 weeks, so my videos will get pushed to the back. So if you could like the video, it'll obviously do the channel some wonders over today. And who else is sat in front of their camera on Christmas morning, on Christmas Day, Christmas morning, to try and get a message out to you guys? Muggins here, Muggins. All right, look, hit the bell icon if you want to, and look, I look forward to seeing you on the other side. All right, lots of love, people.